Behind North Korea's Iron Curtain, Kim Jong-un lives a life of astonishing luxury, private orchestras, grand palaces, and armored fortresses. But how far does his empire of extravagance truly go? Step inside and discover. A passion for musical instruments and a private orchestra, music as a symphony of sovereignty. In Kim Jong-un's isolated realm, music is far more than mere entertainment. It has become an instrument of power, an audible proclamation of the supreme leader's supremacy. His decision to import as many as 36 high-end pianos in 2014, with a total worth exceeding $6.12 million, speaks volumes not only about his personal passion, but also about his efforts to craft an image of himself as a refined leader who appreciates the finest cultural treasures the world has to offer. What's remarkable here is that North Korea is a nation where music has traditionally been composed and performed solely for the purposes of political propaganda. However, Kim Jong-un has gone far beyond this conventional role, assembling a private orchestra consisting of 13 handpicked female violinists, selected not only for their musical talent, but also for their appearance. They perform 1980s Western pop classics and even K-pop hits, both genres that would normally be strictly forbidden within this tightly controlled society. This exclusive orchestra is, in many ways, a microcosm of the stark contrast between North Korea's public austerity and Kim's private extravagance. While much of the population struggles with daily hardships, their leader lives amidst melodious symphonies, with musicians at his personal command. It is through this private musical palace that Kim Jong-un crafts an image of absolute sovereignty, where every note played becomes an unspoken anthem of his supreme rule. Look closer, and you will see that for Kim, music is not simply a form of entertainment. It functions as a psychological balm, a personal form of therapy to momentarily drown out the relentless pressures of international sanctions, while simultaneously reinforcing his sense of unchallenged dominion over his secluded empire. Yet beyond these private symphonies, Kim's craving for grandeur stretches even further, into palatial fortresses, where his everyday life becomes a living monument to power. Let's delve deeper and uncover how Kim Jong-un has transformed his residences into regal strongholds that surpass even the wildest imaginations. The palace system, living spaces of a modern-day monarch. Kim Jong-un does not merely reside in a palace, he reigns from a constellation of 17 lavish residences, each one a fortress of luxury and impenetrability, a testament to his unbounded authority within the regime. In a nation where the majority of citizens endure impoverished living conditions, these grand estates stand out as isolated bastions of power, where Kim both shelters himself and amplifies his image as the supreme ruler. Ryongsong Residence, Kim's primary command center, is far more than a dwelling. It functions as both a military compound and a personal retreat. With its own private railway station, Kim can travel securely without reliance on public infrastructure. The estate boasts a private horse track, 3 man-made lakes, and even a nuclear bunker, meticulously designed to prepare for any scenario, from daily governance to nuclear conflict. Gangdong Residence resembles a luxury summer resort, complete with curated gardens, a sports field, a private lake, and a horse racing track. This estate serves not only as a private getaway, but also as an exclusive venue for secret gatherings with his closest political elites. The lavish banquets held here do more than indulge Kim's personal pleasures. They act as vital tools for solidifying loyalty among the inner circle of power. Wonsan Residence takes extravagance to another level, operating as a true seaside villa complex. With 10 luxurious villas, a private marina, sports facilities, and an on-site water park, this estate functions like a world-class resort, where Kim can unwind or host distinguished guests within a secure and secluded environment. Crucially, these estates are not mere indulgences in luxury, but calculated statements of power. They convey a clear, unspoken message. Kim Jong-un is not just a head of state, he is a living symbol of absolute authority, one who deserves to reign from the grandest of palaces, surpassing the stature of ordinary world leaders. But Kim's reign of grandeur is not confined to immovable palaces alone. It extends to the very ways he moves through the world, turning every journey into a rolling display of invincibility. Extravagant modes of transportation, proclaiming an untouchable status. While many world leaders opt for transportation that reflects either national symbolism or understated pragmatism, Kim Jong-un has turned every vehicle he uses into a mobile stage for projecting his power. From aircraft to armored trains and luxury cars, every mode of transport is meticulously chosen to reinforce the image of a leader who exists beyond the reach of global containment. The Air Force One, Kim's private aircraft valued at $1.5 million, is not merely a means of travel, but a flying emblem of power rivaling that of any global superpower. The plane's interior, adorned with crystal ashtrays and premium leather seating, sends a defiant signal. No matter how tight international sanctions become, Kim continues to live in global luxury. Beyond aviation, Kim maintains an impressive fleet of 90 armored train carriages, supported by 20 dedicated railway stations across the country. This system, inherited from his father Kim Jong-il, who notoriously feared flying, is far more than transport. It is a mobile fortress, allowing Kim to traverse the nation securely, protected by 2 escort trains and helicopters patrolling overhead. Kim's collection of luxury cars is no less astonishing. Valued at approximately $20 million and featuring prestigious models such as the Rolls-Royce Phantom, Mercedes Maybach, and Audi R8. These vehicles are not only symbols of opulence, but also marvels of security engineering, with bulletproof armor and advanced protective features ensuring the leader's absolute safety. Finally, the 95-foot Princess yacht, worth an estimated $7 million, epitomizes Kim's boundless taste for extravagance. More than just a recreational vessel, this floating palace serves as a luxurious stage for private gatherings with top generals and trusted officials, embodying Kim's dominion over both land and sea. Delving deeper, these extravagant means of transport reveal a fundamental principle of Kim's leadership style. He strives to maintain a state of motion without vulnerability, always mobile yet perpetually beyond reach. Each vehicle does more than transport him from point A to point B. It is a declaration of autonomy and invincibility, a visible reminder that no foreign power can encroach upon his movements. Extravagance without limits. Indulgences reserved for no ordinary person. When it comes to Kim Jong-un, one cannot simply see him as the isolated leader of a cloistered nation. He must be regarded as the living embodiment of absolute power, where every form of pleasure is elevated into an art form, a deliberate display of dominance and sovereign grandeur. A vivid illustration of this mindset was his private engagement of the Harlem Globetrotters, America's legendary show basketball team, for an exclusive performance. This was far from mere entertainment. It was a calculated move designed to signal to North Korea's elite that their leader has the ability to do what the rest of the world can scarcely imagine. While the average North Korean citizen may never witness an international basketball game, Kim Jong-un doesn't just watch these performances. He owns them, turning them into private spectacles for his own amusement. But this is only part of the picture. Kim Jong-un also owns a colossal luxury yacht, envisioned as a floating oasis on the sea. On board is an entire self-contained universe, a water slide reminiscent of international water parks, and a lavish 2-level lounge that rivals the finest 5-star hotels. Yet this yacht serves purposes beyond simple leisure. It becomes a venue for secret meetings, exclusive banquets for his inner circle, and nighttime parties infused with the pomp and regality of a modern monarchy. Pushing this opulence even further, Kim constructed a private theater with an astonishing 1,000 seat capacity. This is not a public venue. It is an exclusive auditorium for his personal pleasure, where he indulges in films from his inherited collection of over 30,000 VHS tapes and DVDs, many passed down from his father, Kim Jong-il, himself famously an obsessive cinephile. But beyond personal enjoyment, this archive is a strategic tool. Kim uses these films as a study manual to examine how Western filmmakers craft the image of powerful leaders, refining his own projection of authority in the process. When viewed through a wider lens, these indulgences are not random extravagances, but rather an intricate fusion of personal pleasure and the sophisticated art of power projection. Kim Jong-un understands acutely that in a hermetically sealed society like North Korea, living amidst lavish entertainment serves not merely private gratification but the deliberate construction of his mythos as a supreme leader elevated far above the reach of the common citizen. Every act of entertainment sends a clear message. He alone holds the keys to a world that ordinary North Koreans can only dream of accessing. The gourmet quest for power, how Kim Jong-un's table became a throne of authority. Kim Jong-un has long made no effort to conceal his penchant for elite culinary experiences. His indulgence in fine dining paints a crystal-clear portrait of the absolute power he wields. Even under the crushing weight of international sanctions, the North Korean leader reliably spends nearly $1 million annually to import the world's finest gastronomic treasures. Robust Brazilian artisanal coffee, meticulously aged whiskeys with layered complexities, exquisite red wines from the most prestigious European vineyards, and premium seafood typically reserved for the world's highest echelons of wealth. These choices go far beyond mere personal indulgence. They serve as a direct statement of power to both domestic and international audiences. Despite the tightening noose of global embargoes, Kim Jong-un effortlessly brings the culinary marvels of the world to Pyongyang. His implicit message is crystal clear. Not only am I not isolated, I live in a luxury unimaginable to you. Beyond these flagship indulgences of coffee and fine liquor, Kim exhibits an almost obsessive attention to detail when it comes to his personal menu. He once spent $67,000 solely on imported Italian cheese, a delicacy he adores so much that he reportedly dispatched personal chefs to Europe to master traditional cheese-making techniques. His goal? To replicate the rich, creamy textures and sophisticated flavors of this classic European culinary art back in his palace. This isn't merely an eccentric preference. It is emblematic of Kim's relentless pursuit of culinary perfection, defying the economic isolation imposed by the world. Even the seemingly trivial acquisitions reach staggering proportions. Kim allegedly spent £59,000, approximately $75,000 USD, purely on chewing gum. To the average consumer, this might seem like preposterous excess. Yet from the perspective of an autocrat, this is a power play of exquisite subtlety. In Kim's world, even the smallest of indulgences must be foreign imports, an unspoken declaration that nothing, no matter how minor, is beyond his grasp. No sanction too tight, no embargo too impenetrable. Most sensational of all is the persistent rumor that Kim has McDonald's fast food flown into Pyongyang daily. If true, this tale transcends simple personal taste for burgers and fries. It becomes a symbolic provocation, almost a calculated mockery of the West. McDonald's, the global icon of American consumerism, is brazenly co-opted by the North Korean leader and served at his private table, in the very heart of a nation under siege. The message could not be clearer. You can build all the sanction walls you like, but I will still savor the flavors of your world right here in my residence. For Kim Jong-un, gastronomy has been masterfully transformed from a biological necessity into a sophisticated weapon of power projection. Not every autocratic ruler chooses this path of conspicuous culinary consumption, but Kim deliberately elevates it as one of his foremost strategies for consolidating domestic supremacy and broadcasting defiance globally. Domestically, his extravagant banquets serve as altars of power. Through these imported luxuries, Kim constructs a stark social divide between the loyal inner circle and the impoverished masses. Those invited to his feasts understand unequivocally that this privilege marks their place within the ruling elite, their fortunes tied irrevocably to the grace of the supreme leader. On the international stage, Kim weaponizes his extravagant consumption to send a defiant signal. The economic stranglehold imposed by the West has failed to diminish his power. In fact, he amplifies his ostentation as a deliberate countermeasure, transforming sanctions into a platform to flaunt his invulnerability. His lavish table, adorned with delicacies from every corner of the globe, is a subtle yet thunderous reminder to the global community that he remains an exception to every rule, a man who thrives luxuriously even in extreme isolation. Kim Jong-un's use of food as a political instrument is deeply rooted in history. From the imperial banquets of the Ming and Qing dynasties in ancient China to the opulent feasts of Louis XIV at Versailles, the dining table has long served as a stage for displaying wealth and political dominance. Louis XIV, famously known as the Sun King, orchestrated grand feasts lasting hours, not merely to entertain guests, but to cement his supremacy before the assembled nobility. In a similar vein, Kim Jong-un stages his imported delicacies as integral components of an elaborately choreographed performance of power. His meals are not private indulgences. They are miniature political theaters where he savors the flavors of the world, while silently declaring to his adversaries that their embargoes are futile. Eccentric obsessions, when luxury becomes a royal ritual. Kim Jong-un's eccentric passions have not only captured global headlines, but also provide profound insights into how he crafts his personal legend. Spending $584,000 to import 138 purebred horses from Russia goes well beyond an equestrian hobby. In North Korean culture, the image of the leader astride a white horse amid snowy landscapes is a potent symbol, evoking the heroic sagas of revolutionary resistance. Each appearance with his prized stallions reinforces Kim's portrayal as the legitimate heir to the revolutionary legacy of Kim Il-sung. His collection of over 100 Rolex watches in a single year, 2016, similarly reflects his fixation with the ultimate global symbols of success. For Kim, each watch is more than a timekeeping device. It serves as a personal reminder of his control over the nation's destiny. It is the literal symbolization of time, where time itself, in the hands of the leader, becomes the time of the nation. Further still, his $46 million investment in monumental statues of himself and his family speaks volumes of his desire to defy time itself. These grand monuments are far from inert stone. They are enduring totems of authority, deeply etched into the collective consciousness of the North Korean people. Finally, the $3.8 million spent on luxury lingerie for his so-called secret harem sheds light on the decadent undercurrents of Kim's private life. While controversial, this practice echoes ancient royal traditions, where maintaining a harem was not merely an indulgence, but a demonstration of virility and dynastic power. Kim Jong-un skillfully leverages these seemingly irrational expenditures to craft the portrait of an omnipotent ruler, a blend of timeless divine king and unyielding strong man impervious to foreign pressure. Every luxury item, every eccentric passion is a deliberate stroke in the grand painting of his mythos. It is a legend he intends to etch not only into the hearts of his citizens, but also into the enduring curiosity of the wider world. Kim Jong-un's empire of extravagance is far more than personal indulgence. It is a carefully staged spectacle of dominance. Through music, palaces, luxury travel, lavish feasts, and eccentric collections, he broadcasts a singular message to the world. No sanction, no isolation, no global pressure can cage his ambitions. But behind the glittering facade of opulence, one question remains. How long can such a performance hold before the world sees through the curtain?